I didn't set out with a goal to cure my asthma. To be honest, I didn't even know that curing asthma was something that you could do. I thought that once you had asthma, you had asthma for life. And I was diagnosed with asthma when I was 3 years old. I set out with the goal to become healthier in my body overall. One of the many benefits of the lifestyle changes that I made is that I no longer have asthma. I haven't used my inhaler in over 2 years. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jackie and I help people create a life that looks good on the outside, but more importantly, a life that feels good on the inside. I help people touch happier, healthier, and most importantly, more fulfilling lives. I did not set out to cure my asthma. There is so much science that backs up a lot of the lifestyle changes that I made as positive influences for curing asthma. I'm going to link my article in the description of this video on how I cured my asthma. All of the studies that back up everything I'm going to discuss in this video are linked in that article. And like I said, I didn't start out with the goal to cure my asthma. I think it's also important to note that everything I did was very intuitive. I am a big proponent of leaning on our own intuition, especially when it comes to our bodies. Intuitive eating is another thing that has drastically changed my life. I'm also going to link an article about what is intuitive eating and more importantly, how to do it. A lot of the changes that I made were just changes that felt natural to me. It wasn't like I looked up like, what can I do to cure asthma? It just so happens that a lot of the changes that I made have positive impacts on asthma. I also want to note that I had 3 types of asthma. I had exercise-induced asthma, which means that if I exerted myself a little too hard, I would have an asthma attack. I had cold-induced asthma, which was like if I stepped outside and it was too cold out, once I breathed in that cold air, my lungs would tighten up and I would need my inhaler to open up my lungs. Lastly, I had allergy-induced asthma, which I also no longer suffer from allergies, but that's a different video for a different day. I know there are people who have chronic asthma, like they just wake up and they have to use an inhaler. I don't have that, so I can't speak to those experiences. I can only speak to what kind of asthma I had. First and foremost, I cleaned up my diet. I stopped eating anything artificial. Specifically, I stopped eating citric acid, which is derived from a black mold. Mold causes asthma. Mold exacerbates asthma. Taking artificial ingredients out of my diet, I believe, was one of the biggest changes that I could have done for my body. When it comes to mold, I also started filtering my air. I traveled so much for work, spent a lot of time in Europe. A lot of the really cute places, a lot of my favorite places to stay, they were really old places and they had a lot of very damp, moldy air. I even started traveling with like this little bedside HEPA filter just to filter the air in the room that I was sleeping in so I wasn't breathing in this like moldy air all night. I also put HEPA filters in all of the rooms in my home, and I really started making sure that the air that I was breathing was better for my lungs, better for my health. Speaking of breathing, I also spent a lot of time around ocean air. In 2019, I moved into a home that was on a bay on the south shore of Long Island. It was just a few miles east of the Atlantic Ocean, so that salty air was something that I was really inhaling a lot of. In 2021, I spent a lot of time in Miami. I was spending so much time at the beach. At the end of 2021, I moved to a small coastal town in Tuscany in Italy. And again, once more, now I'm breathing in the sea air. I had a lot of exposure to that salty air. Also started swimming in the ocean a lot. I did a lot of open ocean water swimming. I spent a lot of time either in the ocean in Miami or in New York or in the sea in Italy. I spent so much time either breathing in the ocean air or swimming in the ocean water. I also created a sauna habit. I had gone into the sauna once or twice a month, here or there. I created a sauna habit where 3, 4, 5, sometimes even 6 days a week, especially in the colder weather, I was going to the sauna for 20 to 30 minutes a day and really deep breathing that dry, heated air. I also started to practice breath work both in and outside of the sauna. I like to consider breath work kind of like an exercise for the lungs, the way that you physically exercise your body. When I first started breath work, I struggled to just inhale for 3 seconds. 3 seconds of a deep inhale was really hard for me when I first started breath work. But more recently, in one of my meditative yoga practices, I touched a 1-minute breath, which is a 30-second inhale and a 30-second exhale. After I completed that breath, I just started crying. I might start crying now because I was just so proud of how far my body has come in this journey. And it's just so amazing that when we set our minds to heal our bodies how capable our bodies are. I didn't even think that it would ever be possible for me to breathe in for 30 seconds, let alone cure my asthma. Our bodies are just so incredibly strong and resilient. I think that one of the most impactful things on how I cured my asthma was having that strong mentality, taking my health into my own hands and knowing that I can improve my health. I was just looking to be healthier in my body. Both my parents have had cancers, and I don't want that same fate. While some of it is genetic, a lot of it is environmental. So I really needed to clean up my environment if I didn't want to face the same fate that both of my parents. Thankfully, they're both happy and healthy now. There's a few more things that I linked into my article on how I cured my asthma. If you're interested to dive deeper, the link is in the description of this video. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. Again, my name is Jackie, and I help people find happier, healthier, more fulfilling lives, finding a balance between their mind, body, and soul. I make new videos every Monday and Friday. Don't forget to click subscribe, and I will see you at the beginning of next week.